Hope you're doing well and enjoying the first week of classes this summer semester. We're part of an organization called Students for Justice in Palestine at FSU.
Okay, so you can just
now, that means we are anti-imperialist, anti-Zionist, and freedom for Palestinians and collective liberation across borders from here all over the world. Now, as my comrades were talking about earlier, we are living in a society which recently elected a white supremacist to presidency, who's now moving forward with a bunch of restrictions on people based on their faith, based on their identity.
I'm pretty sure I'm in a group chat with you. I'm also going to this.
Now,
they said talk to me.
we like to think to ourselves that we are Seminoles.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Well, we'll be in touch.
I'll tell you, the fact is that we are not Seminoles. Because this university exploits the Seminole name to make as much money as possible because of its corporate interests, while then actual Seminoles went through an entire history of mass genocide and ethnic cleansing.
Tell them.
Now that's what's happening in Palestine right now.
Tell them.
In Palestine, why, I'm a Palestinian, and if I try to go to Palestine right now, they'd shut me off the border because I decided to do something and speak about the suffering that the Zionists are imposing on Palestinians by the day. Now, when we say we are anti-Zionism, that means we are against what the perversion of the land of Palestine that is happening right now, as we speak, by the day. And that means we are against the perversion of this land, native land, that has been going on for far too long, coupled with the ethnic cleansing. Now we wonder where are the indigenous people speaking out? Where are they? Well, the fact is that they were ethnically cleansed and beaten to the grit. And now that's why they can't speak out and do anything about it. But we here, because we support indigenous struggles that are happening all over the world, we won't stand silent.
That's right.
Hell no.
We won't stand silent.
We won't.
When bodies are thrown around because of empire, because of the expansion of empire, Western empire happening all across the world, that's because we will be the voice to do something about it. Because we realize that because of the late stage of capitalism that we are living in, it is right for oppressed people to act upon their self-determination. It is right to put everything aside and to speak truth to power. Because this system belongs to the people.
That's right.
It does not belong to the 1% like Donald Trump.
Tell them.
It does not belong to the white supremacists who will exploit Native and Black lives and Muslim and Arab bodies across the world. No, it belongs to the people. It belongs to the workers, the students, the people who run this shit. And we encourage questions to come on in. We're gonna be here a bit, talking and speaking truth to power, showing our face, because once again, we are part of an organization called Students for Justice in Palestine at FSU. And we encourage, if you believe that you wish to see a free world free from the constraints of imperialism and constant exploitation and degradation and subjugation of peoples happening all across the world, then come join Students for Justice in Palestine at FSU.
Yes!
Because we're not at university. We're not at university to try to better ourselves, to live aiming for luxurious lifestyles. No, we're at university because we wish to change this world, right. to shift the fabric of it from oppression and imperialism and exploitation and degradation of bodies all across the world. That's why we're at university. Now, we encourage students to come join our student movement. This semester we intend on getting this university to divest completely from apartheid Israel. Now what that takes, this means we are trying to decolonize this campus. We are trying to aspire for a campus that is free from the history of exploitation and ethnic cleansing. And that means we must do this with clarity. We must do this with a clear vision. And that's why we have groups such as Students for Justice in Palestine, who actively work and get together to educate each other and to mobilize the community and people who have nothing versus the people who have everything. Now, I'm going to bring myself to a close, and I encourage anyone who wishes to speak up to take this position right here. Or does anyone have any questions? Y'all have questions? All right, what's up?
I was wondering what your opinion on Hamas is.
Okay, Hamas is a result of 69 years of confining Palestinians and isolating them to the point where they're trying to push them into the sea, literally. Right now, if you look at the situation in Gaza, it has a blockade that surrounds it, where people are literally put on a calorie count by the IDF. All right, this has been happening for way before Hamas has even happened. Okay, the population of Gaza right now is 80% refugees. 80%, and that means that these people from 1948, from 1967. When Israel started to expand, pushed a bunch of people into this little space in Gaza, okay? Little space. And now, as there is a blockade that surrounds Gaza, that means only a limited amount of resources are allowed to go in. And that means infrastructure for some sort of economic growth and exportation and import of goods is limited. It is limited, and this has been done strategically by Israel. Now, Hamas is a reaction to all this that is going on, to all that. Okay, because when you take 69 years of oppression. What's up, Maria? When you take 69 years of oppression and you couple that with people who decide to act upon their self-determination and realize that God is not with them in this world, they realize that they have nothing to fear in this world but God, and so they will resort to their faith and do what they can to resist the U.S. and Israel empire that is trying to continue to exploit them by the day and to erase Palestine off the map. That's what I think of Hamas.
A little off topic, but you talked about earlier how you think the Seminole mascot is racist, is essentially what you were saying, which kind of a moot argument coming from somebody who gives money to the school. But the Seminole tribe of Florida actually threatened to sue the NCAA for trying to make us change it. So I don't see how...
Wait, do that again?
The NCAA, or I'm sorry, the Seminole tribe of Florida was going to sue the NCAA say if the NCAA was going to make us change our name. That was something that was talked about. The NCAA was going to make us change our name. The Seminole Tribe of Florida was going to sue them for that.
I know.
So I don't see how you can sit there and talk on behalf of the Seminole Tribe. It seems to me that that's a racist comment to sit there and say that you can somehow make better decisions for these people than they can themselves.
Well, the fact of the matter is, right now, yeah, it is true that that the higher ups in the Seminole Tribe are for the.
See, did you want to address this question?
Yeah.
School's name
Well,
being
Albert.
I'm gonna head to work.
Because also consider the fact that this school does give some money to the Seminole Tribe.
Hey, Albert,
Right.
C can address
But
this.
I got this like down.
Yeah, let him. Let her.
Okay, so hi, my name is Simone. So the Seminole Tribe of Florida is only like I think 10% of the actual Seminole population of the U.S. The actual people making those claims that the Seminole mascot is not racist is like the top like 1% of those 10%. So the fact that the leadership within this small minority of the Seminole Tribe of Florida, where if you remember your colonial history, we forced the majority of Seminoles out of Florida. I think it's obvious that
There's no uprising within the tribe, though. It would be different if there was an uprising within the tribe. There's no uprising against their leadership. Leadership wants us to be named the Seminoles. I don't see how.
just because you don't know of an uprising within the tribe, or just because doesn't mean it's not happening, doesn't mean that the people are okay with their leadership is doing, doesn't mean that they have the ability to change who their leadership is. Do you know the exact specific way in which the tribal council is done? Do you know this? Do you have all the information on hand? I don't think so. What I do have is the ability to tell you that the majority, that means the Seminole Tribe, not in Florida, is totally against this and has spoken out about it multiple times.
You've polled them? Where's...
No. The leadership and the tribe has talked about it multiple times. To say that the way we're using the Seminoles name is any different than the way they are using the Redskins name, the way they use
Indians. Cleveland
the
Indians.
the Cleveland Indians name
It's totally
is
different
foolish.
because those-
It's foolish.
Because those
The
Native
black.
Americans are against it. But the Seminole Tribe of Florida has actually...
I have already
threatened to
told you the
sue
Seminole Tribe
NCAA.
of Florida
And-
barely represents the Seminole population.